Yo, what's happening? What's popping? What is hanging? Holy smokes. Holy smokes. So, today, I'm gonna move my camera once I get myself situated here. But today is a new day. Mock Draft 1.0 we dropped yesterday, 2 rounds. Everyone's in it to win it. And today we are going to be going over the NFL coaching cycle hires for this year, all the way up to what was recently updated last night. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. A lot not going on, I should say. And today we're going to break it all down with this beautiful presentation that I made. Let's get right into it, okay? So here we go. First team up, I'm going to put my little head right here. Okay. First team up is the Arizona Cardinals. Okay. The Arizona Cardinals, needless to say, the Arizona Cardinals are absolutely diabolically cheeks, okay? They had Jonathan Gannon as their head coach, who is defensively minded. I don't know how you can say you're defensively minded when you have stats like 29th in points allowed, 27th in yards allowed, 24th in passing yards allowed, 25th in running yards allowed, 28th in sacks, and 20th in interceptions. I don't understand how you can say you're defensive minded. But the Arizona Cardinals are in a sticky situation here, in my opinion, because they need a new coach, someone who's going to have to come in and decide, is Kyler Murray the guy? Is he not? And if Kyler Murray's not the guy, what's the identity of the team going to be? I mean, look at who they have. They have young offensive talent. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. They've got, I don't know who's on the defensive side of the ball. It can't be good if with these stats. They need an identity. They need an identity. Now, I was doing some research last night when I was preparing for this video. Their offense, the Cardinals' offense was not bad under Gannon's tenure. It wasn't like they were like deplorable. So what really I think is happening here is the defense needs a complete rewrite. And you need a rewrite defense-wise, and then you need someone who's like not gonna like fix the defense but let the offense like crash and burn. You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? So here's what I'm thinking. As of right now, the Cardinals are interviewing, okay? It says no one yet. Now, in this video, I have no one yet, meaning that they're interviewing, and then I have nobody with question marks, meaning there's no news on who they're interviewing at all. So, this is quite an extensive list of people. I did not include interviews of people that were hired. So obviously the Cardinals are interviewing people like Jeff Hafley and all these other people. So this does not include who has been hired. This includes people who are still available, okay? So they're interviewing Vance Joseph, Clint Kubiak, Mike LaFleur, Raheem Morris, Matt Nagy, Arthur Smith, Anthony Weaver. Quite a list here, okay? A lot of offensive-minded people, two pretty big defensive names here, if I do say so myself. To be quite honest, I would probably say the best option for the Cardinals is probably going to be Vance Joseph, right? I mean, and because they don't have a head coach yet, they're not interviewing coordinators. So I'm gonna have to say Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph was amazing in Denver. I think he could really come out and make a difference for this Cardinals defense, give them an identity, And as long as you bring in someone mildly competent at offensive coordinator, I'm sure you'll be fine. And you'll be better than where you were. So that's where the Cardinals are sort of at right now. Hopefully we'll hear soon some news of who they're going to hire. Worst case scenario, we're looking at Arthur Smith or Matt Nagy for them. For head coach. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Arthur Smith was a head coach for like 30 minutes. And he was buns. And Matt Nagy, we all know what he did to the Bears. I hate him for that, by the way. I hate him for that. But I digress. So let's move on. Yo, Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons. This is a very tantalizing job. If I were a head coach, I'd be itching. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, depending on if he's re-signed or not. Michael Penix Jr., Drake London, a nice young little offense popping up. Defensively, they're pretty okay. Here's who they hired. Kevin Stefanski. Now, Stefanski is an interesting hire. I will not say it's bad because he's a 2-time coach of the year. But I also would not say that he's great. Sorry, both of my dogs are like right behind me, so I had to check on him. Stefanski, hopefully he was a good coach in a bad situation, but a good coach I feel like should be able to make any situation better. I'm not saying he was supposed to bring the Cleveland Browns to the Super Bowl, but what I am saying is that the Cleveland Browns were like mediocre. Pretty much his whole time, barring that, I believe that one season where they did like decent and everyone freaked out thinking they were going to go somewhere. But so Kevin Stefanski digs his hooks in, brings along his offensive coordinator Tommy Rees, and then of course they don't. And this is where it's interesting. They haven't interviewed anybody for their defensive coordinator position. Raheem Morris returns under a new head coach. That would be insane. If Raheem Morris came back and coordinated for the team he was a head coach of, that'd be kind of crazy. So, with these teams that have hires already, I'm going to give them a grade that's going to pop up like right here. And I'm going to give them a B-. I really think this is a pretty decent hire. I'm not going to give them an A because like Kevin Stefanski's good, but he's a good coach. He won Coach of the Year. I feel like with this caliber of a team that's not in the dumps like Cleveland, he might be able to make something a little magical happen. But I don't think the reason it's a B- close to a C is because I don't like that Kevin Stefanski is basically copy and pasting his staff from the Browns, which the Browns were bad. It didn't work. He's copy and pasting his Browns team onto the Falcons with Tommy Rees. It was breaking news yesterday that Jim Schwartz said, screw you guys, I'm not coming back because you didn't hire me to be the head coach. If Stefanski hires Jim Schwartz and just takes the entire staff of the Browns and moves them to the Falcons, this immediately becomes a C. You need new eyes, new vision, new blood. Do not bring insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results. Do not bring what you had in Cleveland to the Falcons, okay? Something new. So anyway, the Atlanta Falcons got their head coach. They got their offensive coordinator. Let's move on to the next one. The Buffalo Bills. Now, I would be lying if I said I was shocked that Sean McDermott was fired. I mean, poor Josh Allen has been begging, salivating for a Super Bowl, and he's been snubbed so many times. And I think once if you're getting to the playoffs consistently, it prolongs the firing process, right? Because you're like, okay, you're getting there. Sean McDermott's been getting there for a long time. It's time to pack it up. You know what I'm saying? It's been 8-9 years that they've had that they've been in the playoffs, that they've been getting to the playoffs, that they've been competing. And 8 to 9 years with Josh Allen, they've not won a Super Bowl. Now, I will say, other parts of the ball have been a little shaky with the wide receiver room, and before James Cook decided to be like elite, there was some weird speculation there. So who knows? But so the Buffalo Bills have hired their head coach. It's going to be Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator. I might be the only person in the country to think this. This is a buns hire. This is a buns hire right here. And I'm not saying it's like horrible, like F-, but like it's not good. It's weak. Okay? Because here's what I'm thinking. Sean McDermott was the head coach, right? Who was his play caller? All those years of getting snubbed out of the playoffs, losing in these games, choking at the last minute, unable to capitalize with Josh Allen. That wasn't just Sean McDermott's fault. Sean McDermott didn't have Joe Brady locked in a basement with a blindfold on, saying, you don't get to ever come out again, you just sit here and take the blame. Joe Brady was there. Joe Brady was part of the problem. And we're promoting him to head coach like all of a sudden he's going to have these big ideas. This hire was recent, so there's no one at offense or defensive coordinator. But honestly, this is a weak hire for me. Joe Brady could have been an amazing OC or head coach on another team. New, removed. But if the Bills are looking to capitalize with while Josh Allen's aging, hopefully they can build up their offense and replace some pieces on defense. You don't bring in Joe Brady again. How much he's been learning under McDermott for years. What makes you think he's going to be different? Maybe they saw something in the interview. Maybe they heard something. I don't know. I give this a C+. Plus because it's Joe Brady and he is pretty good. They got to the playoffs. But, like, you should have brought someone else in. I'm hoping that that Joe Brady doesn't just elevate staff members to be the coordinators. I hope he goes out and interviews and gets outside perspective. And I hope that this staff turns out. I wish Josh Allen would get a Super Bowl. I wish he would. That would be awesome. And I'm hoping that Joe Brady can deliver that. But, like, if I'm the front office of the Bills, I'm giving Joe Brady a very short leash. You were here under Sean McDermott. You had years and years and years as the offensive coordinator to make this team a Super Bowl winner. Make this offense Super Bowl caliber. And you've yet to do so. You're on a short leash. That's what I would say. You're on notice. His seat should already be smoldering. Still warm, still a little bit red, still a little tss when you sit on it from Sean McDermott. That's all I have to say about that. Next team. The Cleveland Browns. Poverty franchise, okay? This franchise is so unbelievably lost, it's disgusting. They drafted 2 quarterbacks in the draft last year, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, and they literally did, and this is why Kevin Stefanski wasn't my biggest, most favorite decision by the Falcons. It took Stefanski and company all year to decide maybe Shedeur should start. Which, listen, I wasn't a huge Shedeur Sanders fan when he was in college. I think he was mid, and then putting him in the Ring of Honor for being mid was kind of crazy to me. But, like, even a guy like me knows when it's go time, okay? You're losing games with Joe Flacco. You're losing games with Dylan Gabriel. At, like, week 6, when you're dog, put in Shedeur Sanders. What are you going to lose, right? So, Cleveland Browns are an absolutely in the dumpster franchise right now. They've got to figure everything out. The only plus side of their team is Myles Garrett and their defense. That's it. Parts of their defense, I'll say. They need to figure out, because, like, the defense can do everything all day. I mean, shoot, Myles Garrett broke the all-time sack record in a season. That's great. But sacks aren't going to win you football games, dog, if you can't score points because you have booty buns on the offensive side of the ball. So here's what happened, okay? Cleveland Browns just recently hired Todd Monken, the Ravens offensive coordinator, to be their head coach. Okay? This was a very recent hire, so like I said, they haven't really done any coordinating. I'm going to be so completely honest. I saw like a lot of people complaining, crying, upset, like they're sort of like, they feel iffy about it. I don't know why anyone feels iffy about it. What did Todd Monken do for Lamar? Isn't he a 2-time MVP? Isn't Lamar like cracked out of his mind? Wasn't the offense like somewhat good all the time? Like really good all the time? Yes, Ravens defense sort of choked. This year they took a sort of step down, step back. There were issues. I mean, Lamar Jackson was out some weeks. There was problems. I'm going to say it right now. This is an A+ hire for me. And this is the only A+ I gave in this entire video. A+ hire. Todd Monken, who has the experience, who's older, a veteran coordinator, is going to come into Cleveland and hopefully smack this offense together. Shador will do nothing but benefit from the guy who coached Lamar Jackson. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This will do nothing but help the offensive side of the ball. And anyone who says otherwise is tripping. For real. I am excited. I'm not even a Browns fan. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. And I'm excited for the Browns with Todd Monken. I might have to go get me a Browns jersey. I'm sure they're like $3 at the Goodwill. Because this is just a bad team. Number 5 is the Baltimore Ravens. So this was kind of shocking. John Harbaugh was fired after 19 years with the team. What? That's insane. That is insane. But like I said with Sean McDermott, when you're doing well and you're winning Super Bowls and you're going to the playoffs semi-consistently, it pushes back the we're going to fire you. But it gets to a point where when you're consistently not performing well and you're not capitalizing with the talent you have, and at Baltimore's level, they should have been winning Super Bowls. And they were just consistently not winning Super Bowls. When that occurs, when that happens, someone's got to go. So they did if you look at it online on the NFL.com, they interviewed a lot of people for this job. And they ended up giving it to their boy, Jesse Minter. I see that I didn't add a little flashy come on in animation for the grade, so you'll just see the B+, and I'll explain in a minute. Offensively, they're nobody yet. They are interviewing someone, Scotty Montgomery, Lions assistant head coach. Nobody yet for defensive coordinator. That's okay. It's a defensive-minded coach. I don't hate this hire. I think it's kind of cool that they brought someone who started with the franchise back to coach it again. I think that's interesting. I think that's a pretty sweet decision. Chargers defense. The Chargers always stayed in it, like rough and tumble. I mean, they never capitalized. They never went deep anywhere. But I really do think that this could be a good hire. I just think that the reason this isn't an A is because Scotty Montgomery the Lions assistant head coach, that's kind of a weak offensive coordinator position in my opinion, especially Jesse, who is a defensive-minded coach. He needs to lock in and find someone He needs to find someone a diamond in the rough for this right here. And I'm hoping they do. And I genuinely am hoping that they do. That they find somebody. So B+ hire Jesse Minter. I mean, I don't know a lot about Jesse. I didn't really watch Chargers football, but I think this is a pretty good hire. It's going to be weird seeing a guy on the sideline that's not John Harbaugh for the Ravens, but we'll have to see how it goes. Raiders. The Raiders are pretty much one of 3 teams, in my opinion, in the NFL that are completely dog. The Jets, the Browns, and the Raiders. The Raiders need to figure out what they're going to do here. The Raiders need to figure out what they're going to do. Okay? Give me 1 second. Because my dog is pacing. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I don't like editing. I don't like editing that out only because I don't want issues. Sometimes I have issues with the recordings. So, the Raiders, one of the 3 teams I said that are completely trash. Geno Smith was a fun experiment. Pete Carroll was a fun experiment. It didn't work. They need to move on completely. Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers, they need some wide receivers over there. They need to make things work. They need to lock in. They need to pretty much fix everything. They need a completely new identity. Move out, move away, step away from everything and focus up. This list is pretty significant. Okay? Let's look. They've completed multiple interviews with multiple of these people. Ajiro Avero, Vance Joseph, Clay Kubiak, both of the Kubiaks, Mike LaFleur, Matt Nagy. I know that they interviewed him, but I'm pretty sure I saw reports that Nate Scheelhaas was going to return to the Rams. Chris Shula, Davis Webb. Obviously, no one at the coordinator positions. Nobody yet. They don't even have a head coach. My instinct says to go with Clint Kubiak here. I think that Clint Kubiak could be a really good pick for them. I could also see Shula. I could also see Mike LaFleur. I mean, I think personally I'd go offense for a head coach. I think that they need an offense. They need an offensive identity way more than they need a defensive identity. They need someone who's going to rein in these young players and turn them into a weaponized, cohesive unit rather than just pieces of flashy play. So Clint Kubiak for me is my top pick for them, for the Raiders. Hopefully this works out, because if it doesn't, it's over. Okay. They better not make the wrong choice here. Which brings me to the Dolphins, okay? The Miami Dolphins were on the cusp of being in that category of completely buns, garbage, trash franchises. Which, I'd like to say that Mike McDaniel was a good head coach, but he wasn't. He had little to no experience. He wasn't commanding the locker room like he was supposed to, and because of that, he got fired. So let's go over who they're hiring here. Jeff Hafley, Packers defensive coordinator. Now, I'm going to try and take my Bears hat off. Okay? Even though I think this is a tremendous hire for the Bears because Jeff Hafley
Nice to meet you. I'm Tebow.
Jeff Hafley did in fact cause some major issues with the Bears when we played the Packers. Now, head coach speaking, I think this is kind of iffy. This is the Dolphins taking another swing at a guy with no head coaching experience. This is the Dolphins taking a swing because they have a solid offense already and a struggling defense. They want someone to come in and be the defensive guy. So Jeff Hafley, would I have picked Jeff Hafley? A team that's consistently been like mid from the Packers? Like maybe do we know that the reason the Packers defense was amazing was because of Jeff Hafley, or was it because of their inclusion of Micah Parsons, which I hate Jerry Jones for, by the way. So, Jeff Hafley, kind of a mid-hire, but the saving grace, Bobby Slowick, Texans offensive coordinator former Texans offensive coordinator, is the new Dolphins offensive coordinator. I think this might be pretty decent. I mean, this might be pretty good. He's got experience coaching a team that's been pretty decent ever since CJ Stroud got there. I would be interested to see how this plays out. Maybe this does work. Maybe Jeff Hafley does restore the Dolphins to their previous glory, and I'd be happy for them because I don't have to play the Dolphins 2 times a year. So, amen to that. As for the defensive coordinator, nobody yet, question mark. Hafley needs to find a defensive coordinator. If we're seeing a trend here that if it's an offensive guy, they haven't hired anyone on the offense. If it's a defensive guy, they don't hire anyone on the defense. They're taking a little bit of time. I'm sure Jeff Hafley's trying to pick specifically who he wants. I understand. Overall, it's a D hire for me. Now, I probably was a little harsh on the grading because it's a Packers guy. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, Jeff Hafley, you really got to see how he does as a head coach. You really got to see how he does as a head coach, okay? And if he does do well as a head coach, I do wish him nothing but the best as a head coach. I wish anyone luck as a head coach. Unless you're Matt LaFleur, of course. But I'm really hoping this unit does well. You know? And if they do well, that's awesome. If they don't, then they don't. And then you fire Jeff Hafley. Jeff Hafley will come crawling back to the Packers, and then I'll cry. Okay. So the Dolphins, they've got it figured out. They just need a defensive coordinator. The New York Giants. Okay. The New York Giants were like the Patriots of this year's cycle. Remember last cycle where Mike Vrabel didn't even get to touch grass? No, I'm sorry. Jared Mayo didn't even get to touch grass. He was standing outside of the facility, of the team's facility, when Robert Kraft was calling Mike Vrabel with contract details and negotiations. It was insane. John Harbaugh was unemployed for a week. And he's already walking into the NFC. As a Bears fan, I'm a little nervous. If I were a Commanders fan, I'd be nervous. If I were a Cowboys and an Eagles fan, I would be nervous. Nick Sirianni has proved time and time again that he is booty. He won a Super Bowl, appeared in another Super Bowl, but what happened? What happened, Sirianni? Why are we buns? Why are we buns? That's really the.
Okay, I found this on the.
Siri, I'm not asking about buns. Jeez. Why are they buns? That's just how it is. So John Harbaugh's walking into the NFC East. He's walking into the NFC East, and he's about to make it his pup. He's about to dog walk this division. It's gonna happen with this new style of offense he's got over there. Jackson Dart, Scadaboo, Malik Neighbors. It is so over for the NFC East. Nobody yet at offensive coordinator. Gosh, I wonder why. Defensively, Denard Wilson, the former Titans DC. I don't know anything about this guy. And even without knowing a single thing about Denard Wilson, I'm still giving the Giants an A-. This is a home run hire. I don't know whether they offered him the keys. I don't know whether they paid for his mansion. What, they give him some chicken cutlets? A lifetime supply of bacon, egg, and cheese? Like, New York style pizza? Like, what did they offer Harbaugh where, like, he was unemployed for a week? So we'll have to see what the Giants do here, but this is a very interesting hire to me. Very good. As a Bears fan, I'm nervous. If I'm an NFC East team fan, I'm currently shivering me timbers. Okay. Let's go to the Steelers. We have two more teams, Steelers and then the team after. I don't remember. I think it's the Titans. Pittsburgh Steelers allowed Mike Tomlin to walk, which I think they should have done after the departure of Ben Roethlisberger. Because since then it's just been, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins, Mason Rudolph, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. It's just been a carousel of mediocre. Mike Tomlin himself is not a bad coach, but he wasted prime years of his coaching expertise after Roethlisberger left on average seasons when he could have, I feel like, gone to another team and been really good. And that's just my opinion.
Nice to meet you.
So the Steelers allow a guy who's never had a losing season walk. They part ways mutually. They say goodbye. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have their pick of the litter because the Steelers is not a horrible coaching position to have. It's not. They could really do good things here. They really could do good things with their defense, who's aging but good. Offensively, they're pretty good. DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin. They just got to get a decent running back and a quarterback that's not cheeks, and we might be looking at a good team. They have their pick of the litter. They have a situation that's not terrible, and they go and grab Mike McCarthy. Why? Why would they go and get Mike McCarthy? There's a reason the Packers fired him. There's a reason the Cowboys fired him. You could have taken Clint Kubiak. You could have taken Brian Flores. You could have taken Raheem Morris. And we pick Mike McCarthy. Not we, because I'm not a Steelers fan. They pick Mike McCarthy. AFC North. We go from one average Joe to another average Joe. The only reason I can see why they would pick Mike McCarthy is to lure old man Rodgers back in for a retirement tour. Which, if you want to be really funny, what I would do if I were Rodgers is I would retire. There's no way. And listen, I used to be a Rodgers hater when he was on the Packers because the I still own you and the discount double check and all that garbage. For years he had the Bears number. He left, and now Jordan Love can't even wear the socks that Aaron Rodgers used to wear. Okay. I didn't mind Aaron Rodgers. Like I genuinely did not mind Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers did not play the week that we played the Steelers, So the Bears won that game. Thank goodness. Shout out to him. Steelers also beat, I believe they beat a team that allowed us to get in. I don't remember who, but Aaron Rodgers helped us out. But they bring in McCarthy. So I'm not understanding what to do next. I'm not understanding where McCarthy goes from here. I mean, we might as well do a whole comeback tour. Offensive coordinator, John Gruden. Defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris. Done. We might as well bring all the people out of the woodworks for this. We might as well just wrangle them all up. Shoot. Hire Brian Kelly. We want to bring back buns coaches. Let's bring back, you want to bring back controversial coaches? Let's make a staff that's going to make people go, what are they doing? You want to bring in some shockers? John Gruden on this side, Brian Kelly on this side. And let's lock it down. Let's just have a whole lineup, a whole staff of shockers. Let's bring them all in. But that's up to McCarthy. What he's going to do with that, I don't know. I have no idea. Steelers are lost. F-. The Steelers are so lost. They are such a lost team. Because, McCarthy? And if he... Listen, I don't wish ill will. If McCarthy comes in and dominates, I'll be the first to say, wow, that was awesome. That's amazing. I'd be the first to say that. But I don't foresee McCarthy, maybe I'll take away 3 of the minuses and put a plus there. Because it is kind of cool that they brought him back. They brought Mike McCarthy home, and he was really emotional about it and really happy to be there. So I will get, as a man, Mike McCarthy, I'm really happy for him. He got the job he wanted. From a team perspective, though, I'm very critical of this hire. We'll have to see what he does. I wish nothing but the best for Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh. Hopefully he does well. Hopefully he can beat Joe Burrow 2 times a year and Jesse Minter 2 times a year. Hopefully he can finally get Zach Taylor fired and out of Cincinnati, and maybe we'll start looking at some goodies. Brings me to my last team here, the Tennessee Titans, which again, it was really sad to watch. Cam Ward is such an interesting quarterback, such a good quarterback. He looks just like all these other guys, these mobile guys that come out of... he looks like Trey Lance. He looks like Justin Fields. He looks like Caleb a little bit. He looks like Mitch Trubisky. He looks like Patrick Mahomes. These mobile guys that just don't have someone steady in their corner to, really get them going. Which... Here's where I think I'm going to use a little bit of a flex here. So the Tennessee Titans hire Robert Saleh. I don't like this hire only because Robert Saleh proved when he was in New York that he was not fit to coach. He wasn't. Simply was not fit to lead that team at all. I think that bringing in a defensive-minded head coach was a bad take. I think that they should have brought in someone offensively minded. They should have used the Bears formula. You got a young quarterback that looked undisciplined and uncoordinated and inaccurate, Caleb Williams, under Matt Eberflus, who was a defensive-minded coach. We brought in Shane Waldron and thought that was going to make a difference. It didn't. And so, yikes.
Nice to meet you.
Then they fired Matt Eberflus and brought in a offensive behemoth, Ben Johnson. And now look at Williams. Williams is confident. Yes, he still has accuracy problems, which hopefully he will fix. He's confident. He's clutch. He's got the strength. He's got the vision. The vision is there. The accuracy may not be, but the vision is there. He's standing in the pocket. He's making throws. He doesn't look uncoordinated, flustered, and discombobulated. Maybe the Tennessee Titans are thinking Brian Daboll, who was the former Bills offensive coordinator, will be able to fix this. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. This could be interesting. Jackson Dart did look well when he was playing in New York. So maybe Brian Daboll can get Cam Ward what he needs. Personally, I would have brought in someone different. I would have brought in I probably would have brought in someone a little bit younger, someone a little more swaggy. Brian Daboll doesn't have a whole lot of swag, but we'll see. Defensive coordinator, they're interviewing Texans DB coach, which anyone from the Texans defensive staff would be worth your while because the Texans are a scary defense. Overall, I give this a D+. I do not like Robert Saleh at head coach. I would have probably preferred literally anyone but him. But I digress. We'll have to see how it turns out. I wish nothing but the best for these guys. Hopefully they can turn the Titans around and give Nashville something to be happy about again. And we'll just have to see where it goes from there. Which takes me to the end of this video. We're going to run down. These teams fired some of their coordinators, but not their head coaches. And so they had to hire in new people. I wasn't going to do a slide for each and every one of these guys, but some hires that are going on. David Blug, I don't know how to say it, offensive coordinator for the Commanders. The Jets taking Brian Duker as their defensive coordinator, who I don't even know where he was before that. That's just bad. That's just a bad hire. And I know it's probably because no one wants to go and coach in New York, but, really? Detroit Lions take Drew Petzing, offensive coordinator. Again, I'm not really too excited about that. It's also not making me scared because Drew Petzing, I believe, was a staffer in Washington. And, you know what I mean? It's The two ones in highlighted I wanted to talk about more in depth. Green Bay Packers signed Jonathan Gannon as their defensive coordinator. Again, I don't know if you remember the numbers I gave you. Gannon's defense was bad. So I am not the least bit worried about Jonathan Gannon coming to Green Bay. Thank God that Jeff Hafley is gone and Jonathan Gannon is the replacement. Dallas Cowboys bring in Christian Parker, which I thought was pretty interesting. I like that hire. Zach Robinson is the offensive coordinator for the Bucs. Let's break these down. Mike McDaniels and Jim Harbaugh might be insane. Mike McDaniels might be able to get the Chargers over the hump. I'm hoping they do. I'm genuinely hoping they do. And then Kansas City, I hate them for that. I hate them for this. Eric Bieniemy comes back into the NFL for a year. Turns the Bears running back room into something to be scared of, and then goes, deuces. I hate him for that. I wish him nothing but the best, but come on. Even the Chiefs knew Matt Nagy was buns. And they're going to bring in Eric Bieniemy? Are you kidding me? These guys are still looking. I'm going to fly through these. Denver Broncos need an offensive coordinator. They fired Joe Lombardi, which means he might be in the running for other offensive coordinator jobs. Mike Kafka, interim Giants head coach. I mean, he was a pretty good offensive guy. I mean, like I said, the Giants were decent with Jackson Darden. Mike Kafka could be the answer for the Broncos to replace him. They could find someone else. I just think that might be a good option for them. New York Jets interviewed Frank Reich, which I think would be a crazy return, especially with the limited pool. I mean, shoot. Maybe Aaron Glenn goes and finds Mike Kafka. Maybe Aaron Glenn goes and interviews Joe Lombardi, the Denver's offensive coordinator. Maybe. Who knows? But, I mean, there's options. Philadelphia Eagles, realizing that Joe Lombardi was gone, I would probably say that'd be their best fit. If not, go with Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy's a horrible head coach, but he has proven that he can be a decent offensive coordinator. I mean, shoot, he's won Super Bowls. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. Go from one Super Bowl ready team to another and see what he can do with Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts. Just see. It doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt. So that's going to be it for today. That's going to be all. That's going to wrap up my complete rundown of the 2026 coaching cycle. Obviously, if something crazy happens, we'll tune back in with an update. But for now, that's really going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. Coming down the pipes is probably going to be a Bears mock draft. Probably going to be, there's going to be more mock drafts in the future. I also might do a fun little video where I propose a 8-team expansion of the NFL. Thanks to the help of ChatGPT and Wikipedia, I was able to find 8 cities that are growing in the United States that could use new teams, could make it fun and exciting. But anyways, so that's what's coming down the pipes. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you're even watching. If no one's watching, then, well, it's my permanent mark on the internet. Thank you so much, and until next time, cack out, buckadoo.